Everything has changed, and yet nothing has changed in the National League West. While the Padres and Diamondbacks continue to charge, the Dodgers laid claim to Team of the Decade with a thrilling World Series run. And so it's the Dodgers clearly on top, and everyone chasing as we enter a new year. The Dodgers erased all doubt in 2024. Despite a succession of injuries to their pitching staff, LA managed the best record in baseball and then beat back all comers for their first full season title since 1988. The scary thing is, with a healthy rotation, the Dodgers could be even better in 2025. That leaves the Padres wondering if they'll ever be able to overtake their rival to the north. San Diego had the Dodgers on the brink in the NLDS, but couldn't close the deal. This lineup still has top 5 talent, but if opportunity knocks again, can they answer? Down in the desert, disappointment dogs the Diamondbacks as well. After a surprise Fall Classic run in 23, Arizona was positioning itself as a team no one wanted to face in October, but a late slump left them on the outside looking in. Getting off to a good start will be key for Arizona in 2025. LA's other rival seems to be stuck in neutral. The Giants have been hovering around 500 for the last 3 years, as the 107-win season of 2021 fades further into memory. San Francisco is definitely in chase mode and needs to make a big move to keep from falling further behind the Big Three in the West. The Rockies will enter the season with more modest goals. If they can get to 70 wins and identify a core around which to build for future seasons, that will be a sign of progress in Colorado. One year ago, the American League West was riding high, boasting back-to-back World Series winners. But entering 2025, each and every team finds itself at a crossroads. The Astros have won 4 consecutive division titles, but were unceremoniously swept out of the postseason by the Tigers, failing to reach the ALCS for the first time since 2016. Can the Stros make one more push to the top, or is it time to chart a new path? Up Highway 6, Houston's in-state rival Rangers came crashing back to earth as well after their 2023 World Series win, finishing below 500 for the 7th time in 8 seasons. Can Bruce Bochy create the every other year magic he was able to conjure in San Francisco? In Seattle, the Mariners are still wondering how they not only lost a double-digit division lead, but failed to make the postseason entirely. The division is there for the taking, but the M's need to upgrade their offense to take advantage. Meanwhile, the A's are the literal definition of a team in transition. They were far more competitive than expected a year ago, but taking a big leap forward without a true home field advantage could be too big of an ask. And what of the Angels, who are working on a decade of postseason futility? The Halos have been active this offseason, making several trades and free agent signings. Will these improvements be enough, or is a youth movement their best path back to contention? Up for grabs may be the best way to describe the National League Central entering 2025, as every team has a reason to believe that this could be their year. The Brewers were expected to fall to the back of the pack in 2024. Instead, they won 93 games and a second straight division crown. The Crew has to feel like the favorite label is theirs until further notice. The Cubs were supposed to push Milwaukee, but spent most of the year hovering around 500. The pressure is there to make a market improvement in 2025. On the flip side, the Cardinals probably overachieved in matching Chicago's 83 wins. With a wide-open division, the motivation is there to further prove that 2023 was but a one-year bump for one of baseball's most successful franchises. Cincinnati saw a core of young pitchers step up last year, and if the electric Elly De La Cruz can ignite the offense, the Reds have the pieces to move towards the top of the division. Pittsburgh's Paul Skeens burst onto the scene a year ago. But Pittsburgh is more than a 22-year-old phenom. The Bucks bolted out of the gates in each of the last 2 seasons. If they can find a way to finish, they could be one of 2025's biggest surprises. The success of the AL Central was one of 2024's surprising storylines. Was it a one-year wonder or the start of a shift in the American League balance of power? The Guardians, expected to finish under 500 entering 2024, instead made a serious run at the best record in baseball and reached the ALCS for the first time since 2016. If good pitching beats good hitting, the recipe for success is there once again in 2025. The Royals engineered an astonishing 30-win improvement from 2023 to 24, snagging a postseason berth and upsetting the O's in the wildcard round. With phenom Bobby Witt Jr. leading a lineup of 20-somethings and Salvador Perez providing a stable veteran hand, this feels like a team that could contend for years to come. On August 10th, the Tigers were 8 games under 500 and going nowhere. From there, a bullpen that was virtually unhittable sparked a dominating stretch run all the way to the ALDS, where Detroit pushed Cleveland to the brink. If they can add some punch to the lineup, they could find themselves contending for a division title in 2025. On the flip side, the Twins found themselves paying the price for other success. Picked to win the division, Minnesota fell to 4th place. Still, they're likely to find themselves a popular pick to contend again in 2025. Can they fend off their upstart rivals and get back to the top of the division? On Chicago's south side, the White Sox will be looking for any signs of improvement on the heels of last year's struggles. 2025 will continue to be a rebuilding year, so expect the Southsiders to try to move some core players in order to acquire young talent. It's a glass half full kind of year in the National League East, as every team tries to build on a silver lining from 2024. The Phillies had a frustratingly short postseason stay, but they did manage to end Atlanta's 6-year run atop the division standings. The challenge this year is to maintain excellence from April through October. The Braves were beset by a never-ending barrage of injuries, but still snuck into the postseason for a 7th straight year. They'll be anxious to prove they are still the team to beat in the East. It looked like the road was coming to an end for the Mets in early June, but they were one of baseball's best teams from there, making a spirited run to the NLCS. Can they build on that momentum and push past the Phils and Braves in 2025?
We welcome Juan Soto and his family to the Mets.
Yes, the Nationals lost 91 games for the 2nd straight season, but 2024 just felt different. Better. With a young nucleus starting to take shape, there is plenty of reason for optimism in the nation's capital. Down south, the Marlins are coming off a 100-loss season, but were without their 2 best starters, who should both return ready to steady the rotation. Opportunities abound on offense for a bevy of young prospects to make their mark and usher in the next era for Miami. Expect intensity from the first pitch in the American League East, where every team has something to prove in 2025. The Yankees finally broke through and reached the World Series after a 15-year drought. However, an unfortunate series loss to the Dodgers was a disappointing finish. This year, nothing less than a championship will satisfy Aaron Judge and company. Baltimore has been the feel-good story of the last 2 seasons, reaching the postseason in each year only to fall short of expectations. This is a young, exciting team, but it's time to show up and show out in October. Doing more with less has been a staple of the Rays' success against their big city rivals, but they'll need to do way more in 2025, especially on offense, to keep pace and confirm that last year was a fluke and not a trend. Boston seems ready to make a move and be a factor in the race for the division title. But we said the same thing last year and the year before. With an exciting young core, can the Red Sox become this year's Orioles? It may be now or never north of the border, where the Jays will bring back most all of their key pieces. The expectation is that they'll rebound from last year's 88-loss anomaly and play more like the team that reached the postseason in 2022 and 23.